Okay, my friends, thanks for joining me once again. Today we're going to have a look at some paperbacks that are not science fiction, just for a change. Have a look at some Western paperbacks, a little set I managed to pick up a long time ago. Now, I'll give you a bit of context to these books before we start briefly. In 1964, a film called A Fistful of Dollars was released into the cinemas. The Western starring Clint Eastwood, who was not so well known at the time. You know, he played a character called Rowdy Yates in a US TV series called Rawhide. And alongside him were a bunch of ragtag European actors. None of them recognisable or well known in any sense. The film cost $200,000, of which $15,000 was paid to Clint Eastwood for his role. Now, the film opened not to great critical acclaim. A lot of people claimed it was too violent. And it was directed by Sergio Leone. These movies became known as spaghetti westerns. It was the first of the spaghetti western subgenre. And the director, Sergio Leone, was Italian, obviously, and that's where the spaghetti reference comes from. And it was filmed on location in Spain. So really sort of like weird mishmash of things that went to make it. Now, as I say, it didn't perform too well in the US and the UK, but did quite well in Europe. So they decided that they would do a sequel, which was a year later, 1965, for a few dollars more. This one was called. Same director, same setup. Clint Eastwood came back. This one had a bit more of a budget. It was $600,000. I don't know what Eastwood got paid. But Leone had a bright idea, which turned out to be a good idea, that he would cast another American, in Lee Van Cleef. Now, Lee Van Cleef was an American character actor, normally played the villain because he had very hawkish features. But in this particular film, he played him as one of the good guys, which was unusual. And again, the film didn't really set Europe, set England in UK and US alike, but it was quite popular again in Europe. So much so that it became a sort of a cult film, if you like. Now, this particular film was the first one I saw. I missed the first one, and I went to see this one actually 3 times in 4 nights, which is a record for me still. I mean, this was 60 years ago, and it's still a record. I've never seen a film so often at the cinema. I imagined when I came out as a teenager, I imagined that I was Clint Eastwood, and the titular man with no name character that he played. I even bought a sheepskin waistcoat that he wore, and I had a leather cowboy hat, and I had a BB gun that was very similar to the one he had with the snake on the butt. So I really loved that. And then the following year, 1966, they did a really big budget. It was actually a prequel to A Fistful of Dollars, because it was set in the American Revolution, and they decided to throw some money at this one. They made it longer. They had a budget of 1.2 million. And they brought back Lee Van Cleef as the villain this time, But another masterstroke was bringing in another American actor called Eli Wallach, who played one of the so-called villains, but I mean his character was so endearing and funny, you couldn't really regard him as a villain. And this went on to be a real classic. You know, everybody regards it as much. You know, a lot of people regard it as the best Western ever made. You know, even Quentin Tarantino knows a lot about movies. He described it as cinematically perfect. So yeah, that was the background to what I'm going to show you today. It was a set of 8 paperbacks that Tandem put out in the early to mid 60s, and I'm lucky enough to have the full set of the livery. That's the best of all the editions. And we kick off with novelisation of the first film, Fistful of Dollars. I love these covers. You know, they're great. As I say, they're all the same design. And obviously this was a novelisation of the very first film. This was by Frank Chandler. Now, I don't know if these guys who wrote these used pseudonyms or what, but that was I think that was the only one by Frank Chandler. Then we had, for a few dollars more, by Joe Millard this time. All these are in fairly decent condition. They've got nice shiny covers. And then followed, of course, the third film, Good, the Bad and the Ugly, with the 3 characters who represented the good, the bad and the ugly. Okay. So after the first 3 film adaptations, we had another 5 original novels. I don't know what order these came in, but anyway, $1 to Die For. Somebody very kindly used this as a coffee coaster, and I can't get that staying off, but what can you do? You know, you don't see these around an awful lot, these particular paperbacks. And we're still with, we're with a chap called Brian Fox now. Again, I think he just did the 1. Joe Millard did the 2nd and 3rd of the film adaptations, and as I say, this was Brian Fox, whoever he might be. Right, and then followed A Coffin Full of Dollars. And my favourite title, The Devil's Dollar Sign. Great title, that. Lovely. By the way, I apologise for the lighting on this. It's getting rather... I'm always apologising for the lighting because in this room I only have one window in the corner, and the artificial lighting's even worse. Yeah, Devil's Dollar Sign. Great title. And then those last 2 were back to Joe Millard again, and we're with Joe Millard for the other 2 as well. Blood for a Dirty Dollar. And finally, I think this was the last of them. I don't know what order the other 4 came in. $1 Million Blood Hunt. I think this is the only one with artwork that's not actually from the film. That's original artwork there. Again, Joe Millard. And it had a slightly different back cover to it. So the first one was 1973. This one was 74, so they all came out within a year of each other. So yeah, that was those. Like I say, it's not a set of books you see around too often. So if you're into westerns and you like the dollar films, by all means pick them up. Right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me again. Thanks for subscribing, sharing, watching. I would like some more comments, please, if you wouldn't mind. And I will see you very soon with science fiction pickups for early March. So until then, bye-bye.